Hello, today we are going to be playing Clues by Sam, which is this really interesting logical puzzle that a friend told me about. It works kind of like Clue, but we're trying to figure out innocent and criminal people, and it's purely logical. So there's no luck involved. We're not going to be taking any guesses or anything like that. This is my first ever solve, so if this goes horribly wrong, you probably won't see this video, or if you do, then you'll have some good entertainment in watching me flounder. So I'm going to go ahead and click start, and we'll get started. See if I can zoom in and make this better and all. A little bit. Okay, so let's look at that. We won't be needing the hints or anything like that. First clue is Carol is one of two or more criminals to the right of Alice. Carol is one. Okay, so Alice is going to have two or more criminals, and Carol's one of them. So I don't need that clue anymore, so I'm going to click it, and that fades it out. The only thing I've ever done is the tutorial, so this is why I know this. And I'm going to say she's a criminal. And we got a nice little correct with an exclamation, so we know we're doing okay. One judge has an innocent directly above them. One judge. Okay, are these the only two judges? Yes, it seems like that is the case, which means since this judge does not have an innocent directly above them, this judge must have an innocent directly above them. And so I don't need this clue anymore. This judge is therefore innocent. There are more criminals than innocents above Pam. There are more criminals than innocents above Pam. So Pam is here. We've got two criminals. We would have to have two criminals to have more than innocents. Therefore, Logan must be a criminal. Both criminals in row 3 are connected. Logan is in row 3. So either Keith or Megan is a criminal, but not both. But what that does tell, it doesn't tell us which one, and I don't have any other clues. That tells us that Joyce must be innocent, which is correct. Okay, so I don't need that clue anymore. Gary and Logan have only one innocent neighbor in common. Gary and Logan only have one innocent neighbor in common. I don't think... Oh, that's interesting. Actually, this clue is not done yet. And this clue isn't quite done yet. This clue is definitely done. There are more criminals and innocent. Okay, so this is done as well. But these clues aren't quite done. So Carol is one of two or more criminals to the right of Alice. Two or more. So either Bonnie or Donald is also a criminal. Both criminals in row 3 are connected. Gary and Logan have only one innocent neighbor in common. So that must mean if I can identify the neighbors that they have in common are Floyd, Henry, Megan, and Keith. So if I can identify which one of those is innocent, then the rest are criminals. But there's only two criminals in row 3. Okay, yep, this is it. There's only two criminals in row 3, and they're both connected. So again, we know that Keith or Megan are a criminal. But only one of them is a criminal. The other one must be innocent. I think this is right. I'm right in saying That means Floyd and Henry must be criminals. Okay, cool. So this clue is done as far as I'm concerned, because we now know about Keith and Megan, and that covers, we don't know which one's a criminal, which one's innocent, but we know that one's a criminal, one's innocent. So therefore this clue is not going to be helpful to me anymore. This clue technically isn't really helpful to me anymore. So I'm gonna block it out for now. I can turn it back on later if I need to and go through all the clues. Carol is one of two or more criminals to the right of Alice. That, I mean, again, two or more. So we know that at least Bonnie or Donald is a criminal, but we don't know anything else. So let's just look at these clues. Carol has more innocent neighbors than Scott. And there are a total of 3 innocents in rows 1 and 3. So here's one innocent. One of these is the second innocent. So there must be one innocent at most in row 1, and the rest are criminals. And then combine that with Carol has more innocent neighbors than Scott does. Scott. And Scott has at least 1. But Carol only has 4 neighbors. 2 of them are already criminals. I kind of want to say guilty. Carol is one of 2 or more criminals to the right of Alice. So I think Alice has, given all of that, I think Alice has to be a criminal. Because if there's a total of 3 innocents in rows 1 and 3, there's 2 criminals and 2 innocents here. So that's 2. So there can only be 1 innocent in all of row 1. But we know for a fact that there has to be 1 right next to Carol, because Carol is one of 2 or more criminals to the right of Alice, and Carol has more innocent neighbors than Scott does. But it can't be both innocent, because if both were innocent, then this would be violated. Yeah, I think there's no way. So Alice is definitely a criminal. Okay, that we know. But I think we also know that one of Bonnie or Donald is innocent. And because I can't ever get to 3 innocent people next to Carol, that means Scott is done. He is solved as far as neighbors go, and Olive and Terry have to be criminals. So that means that this clue is done. Carol has more innocent neighbors than Scott. We know that Bonnie or Donald must be innocent. One of them's innocent and one of them's a criminal. So let's go through the clues we haven't gone through. There are more criminals in row 1 than row 2. And we know there has to be 3, which means Irwin is innocent, because there's currently 2 here, and to stay more than, and we know this doesn't go to 4. So there's a total of 2 criminals in row 2, therefore Irwin is innocent. Okay, so that clue is done. Logan and Pam have 2 innocent neighbors in common. Logan and Pam have 2 innocent neighbors in common. And we know that one of them is going to be Keith or Megan. And that covers, so the neighbors that they have in common are Keith, Olive, Megan, and Ruby. One of Keith and Megan is a criminal. One of Keith and Megan is innocent, as I've said multiple times. and Logan and Pam have 2 innocent neighbors. Olive's guilty, so Ruby must be innocent. And I'll block that out. Carol is one of 2 or more criminals to the right of Alice. Again, I mean, I think I can go ahead and block that out. It's not going to help me anymore. There are a total of 3 innocents in rows 1 and 3. So we know that one of these and one of these, we already know that much. But I'll keep that one for now. Logan has exactly 3 innocent neighbors, which must mean that Pam is innocent. No. Gary is innocent. Ruby is innocent. Keith or Megan is innocent. So that's 3. So Pam is actually a criminal. Zia and Carol have 3 innocent neighbors in total. Zia and Carol have 3 innocent neighbors in total. So we know one of Bonnie or Donald is innocent already from other clues. Gary is innocent, so that's 2. And then Zia already has an innocent neighbor in Ruby. Therefore, Zoe is not innocent and is a criminal. Carol and Zoe, I guess, have 3 innocent neighbors in total. So Ruby's 1. Carol has 2. So that's a total of 3, which means Zia is also a criminal. Okay. Your puns are even worse. In fact, they're terrifying. I'm not sure what that means. I think it doesn't help me at all with the puzzle, so I'm just going to block that out. Zia says there are more innocents in row 1 than row 5. And it's going to be 1, exactly 1 in row 1, so row 5 has to have 0, so Scott's a criminal as well. There's just all criminals down here. We all suck. There are a total... hold on. Terry says, I'm a terrible chef. Terrible chef. That's why I do crimes. Your puns are even worse. In fact, they're terrifying. That's what that means. So they're just talking to each other weirdly. But I'm trying to decide though, am I being insulted here? I don't even know. Are you talking about me having bad puns? Because I'm a dad and yeah, I got bad puns. Also, I misread that the first time. Scott says there are a total of 3 innocent guards and mechs. Oh, like mechanics. Okay. 3 innocent guards and mechanics. Okay, so we have a guard, and a mechanic. What's the other mechanic? Innocent. There are a total of 3 innocents in rows 1 and 3. That doesn't help me. Uh-oh. I might be stuck. There are a total of 3 innocent guards and mechanics. But the other mechanic... If the other mechanic was not innocent, this would be really easy, because then all... Oh, but we know that one of these, out of the guard and mechanic, must be innocent, and one must be a criminal. And we know the same here of guard and pilot. And we know... Zia and Carol have 3 innocent neighbors in total. Zia has 1. Carol has 1 right now, and then 3 be here. But again, that doesn't help. Gary and Logan have only one innocent neighbor in common. Again, doesn't really help because we already know about Keith and Megan. Both criminals in row 3 are connected. Again, it's got to be Keith or Megan. Total of 3 innocent guards and mechanics. Maybe that does help me because if we know that only one of this guard and yeah, that helps. Okay, it just took me way too long to see this. The guard and mechanic here, out of those, there's one innocent and one criminal. This mechanic is innocent, so that makes 2. And then this guard must also be innocent, which means Megan's a criminal. Oh, can I chime in? Have a terrific Friday. Right, okay, cool. Thanks for that. Erwin has more innocent neighbors than Henry. Erwin has more innocent neighbors. So 1, 2. And Henry is going to be 2, I assume. Or wait. What, could it be done already? Erwin has 2. If Henry... Yeah, this is going to solve it, but I have to walk through it. Erwin has 2. Henry currently has 1, so that currently meets the requirement. If I make Bonnie innocent, then Erwin would have 3, and Henry would still have 1, because Donald would be a criminal. But if I make Donald innocent, then Henry would have 2, Erwin would have 2, and that would not meet the requirement. So Donald cannot be innocent. Yeah, innocent. He must be a criminal, which makes Bonnie innocent. Okay, solved in less than 18 minutes. What does that mean? Next puzzle in 10 hours. Oh. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for joining. I'll try to do this again tomorrow. Bye.